Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Don't Freak Out on Love World Radio. And today I have an amazing personality with me. Her name is Dr. Toy with a sauce on it. And today we're talking about how to cultivate a thriving family environment. You know, we all want to live in safe and serene environment, but the family space, how can we make it safe? How can we cultivate and establish this thriving relationship between parents and children? And so far, we've talked about some tips that can make that happen. It has to be done intentionally. It has to be planned. And what better time it is to start planning if you've not done so? It's now. We talked about the physical space. We talked about the emotional well-being of children. And because of time, Dr. Toy, you will come back to the studio.
Yes, it's great to be here.
Yeah, so please, how does routine and structure help in establishing and cultivating a safe family environment?
You see, routine and structure is very, very important. And first off, a lot of parents don't even have structures in their lives. And they automatically feel that their children should just fall on their children like ripe potatoes. That is not the way it works. One of the greatest ways in which you can teach your children is to live the life you want them to live. It is actually about children don't listen to words, right? They do what they see, not what they hear. And that's why you say, I've been telling you this child. Nah. If you really want a child to cultivate routines and structure, first off, in fact, if parenting does not change you, you haven't started yet. If parenting does not make you think twice on some of the decisions that you make, you haven't started yet. So you as a parent, you must learn about time management, energy management. Yes, because now life has moved into the era of energy management. Why? Time is restricted. Time cannot be bought back, but energy is renewable. So it's not about you always working all around. What level is your energy? That will determine your productivity. In fact, in our own organization that I lead, when people come into the office sick, we allow them sleep. Because it doesn't make sense to get on work when you are not in your, element. So you have to be able to understand what kind of person you are. Are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? What time is your peak time when your juice is flowing? So coming to the children, it's easier for you to now work with them. Take, for example, my children know how to set goals. I started teaching them about goal setting for the year. Okay, in various aspects. And then from there, it trickled down to every single year, they win awards. Because we have set the goals right from the beginning of the session and we keep our eyes on the ball, right? But more importantly, we reward efforts, not just outcomes, right? It's in those day-to-day, my wonderful grandfather, I call him my grandfather because I'm also the overall training and lead facilitator for Equip Nigeria, which happens to be John C. Maxwell's nonprofit organization. He would say that success is in the daily actions that you take. So that is where routine comes in. So it's not just about also having a structure and a structure that is not working. You have to ensure that they have a regular time for having their bath, for going to bed, for eating, taking their food, for going to school. It also makes life easy for you as a parent. Why? Because the children are raised to become a lot more independent. And then when children don't have routines, they are usually confused. They are usually not well put together, and it makes them a lot restless.
Doctor, I want to please take you back to what you said a few seconds ago.
Yes.
You talked about rewarding the effort.
Yes.
And not just the outcome.
Exactly.
Doctor, I really want us to loud it. We need to noise it. Because that has really put a lot of children down emotionally.
Yes.
That has really destroyed a lot of children on the inside.
Yes.
So a child comes home with his result from school and they did not see the first position there and they started talking the child down. So what about the effort put in? Oh, that is even too far. Let's say they had an inter-house sport competition and then the child came third.
Yes.
Not first. What do you tell that child? Because if that child did not participate, there'll be no first position.
In the first place, You're right.
So we need to encourage that participation.
Yes.
Please, doctor, I need you to throw more light on that, please.
Okay, so one of the things that I tell people is SWOT analysis is a very powerful tool, which represents strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Please, if there's anything, you need to identify the strengths of your children and then begin to help them build on their strengths.
Doctor, please, noise it. Noise it. Let's loud it.
So it's called strengthening your strength, right? And so I'm gonna have to use my children a lot of time because I'm a very practical person. My daughter is an artistic person, and I can't tell you how much I've had to spend on buying paints and brushes and canvas, and and I can't even tell you because I know that is our core. While my son is a science
inclined.
Fun rather. He just wants to observe. And even this holiday period, I've had to buy resources that has to. He has his hand lens. He goes around the compound, magnifying insects and all. And this is also very critical because when we know their strengths, it helps us to actually channel it right. It helps us to, don't capitalize on what they don't have. Now, the way the human brain works, so of course, my master's degree is in educational psychology, so you can understand how a lot of connections is taking place now. The way the human brain works is to easily identify those things that are not working. Can you just tweak it a bit and intentionally catch your children doing something good?
Intentionally catch them doing something good.
And praise them for it.
Because any action that is encouraged will be repeated.
And when it is repeated, it will always take place. And when it takes place, the children's self-esteem, self-confidence, self-awareness is being built. So catch them doing something good. And do you know what? Whatever you look for, you find. Whatever you're looking for, you find. That's the way the human brain works. And so be intentional when they do anything and they do it well, even if they don't do it perfectly, but they made an effort, still going back to effort, not just the outcome. Please go the extra mile to tell them thank you.
Doctor, I want to thank you for coming again. And because of our time, please, I'd like us to do a quick recap on the tips we've given so far: physical space, emotional well-being, routine and structure, so that those that are just joining in can catch one or two things.
So in summary, we've actually been looking at how can we foster that beautiful environment, nurture that environment where our children can grow holistically, spirit, soul, and body. And then we started with the fact that there must be a vision. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision.
Make it plain
so that either read it will run with it. And the family is the smallest unit of the society. And one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about families and children is because it is through them that life gets sustained. It's interesting, right? You and I, if we stay for another 50, 60 years, it's because God has granted us grace. But they continue. They are the continuum. A lot of people talk about living a better world for our children. What about living, our children in a better world, And it's whatever we put in that we get. So we've actually also talked about the importance of the physical space and how it helps to develop their fine and gross motor skills. We've looked into the core part of ensuring that the home is safe. The home is safe physically, the home is safe psychologically, what type of language goes on and off. I had to enroll for a 1-year parenting program, and it was then I got to know about the yell meter. That everyone has a yelling level in their voice, especially parents. Can you just learn how to make the environment? Can you talk to the children and not yell? Can you actually communicate and let them know? Because once you start yelling, the children will pick it up and then they will start yelling too. And you know what? They don't yell at the same level. Theirs will be on a higher dimension because they magnify whatever it is that we do. Right? And then we've also been able to look at emotional well-being, talking about the fact that it is not just enough for us to take care of them physically, and we feel, oh, they are all right. We have to go the extra mile to know their love languages, their learning style, and of course, we have to be intentional about being present, listening to them, and having them free enough to have conversations with us.
Amazing, amazing. And from me, I would like to say a very big thank you to Dr. Toyi. A lot of children from very good homes, wealthy homes, a lot of them feel depressed. So it's not only those that lack one or two things that really feel depressed. When they lack this emotional connection from their parents, it might make them feel
Fortunately,
depressed.
they seek it from somewhere else, and there are a lot of pedophiles, there are a lot of people online everywhere. So if they don't get it from home, they look for somewhere else to get it, and you don't want them to get it just anywhere, right?
We don't just want that. We do
Yes.
not want that. So I want to encourage you that as much as you plan for their education, their feeding, their clothing, intentionally plan for their emotional stability. How is that possible? It is possible if you seek for knowledge. The key word is being intentional. Remember, God gave us these children. And when I talk about children here, I don't only mean your own biological child. Every child is your child. Because if you pay attention to your own child, there are other children in the community, in the society that will relate with that child that you are giving 100% attention. So every child is your child. And remember, it is very possible to cultivate and establish a well-rounded family environment.
Yeah, just a final word for parents. So please take care of yourself. Right? One of the reasons why a lot of parents are agitated, while they yell, why yes, knowledge is one. Secondly, a lot of parents are stressed. And you cannot pour from an empty cup. I wouldn't lie to you that parenting is a walk in the park. It is draining spiritually, mentally, physically. So start by praying. Ask God, teach me how to raise these children. That is always my prayer. And sometimes I wake up and I lay my hands on them and I say, you would hear the voice of God alone. The voice of strangers you will not hear. You will be a leader in your generation. Men and women will look up to you. So after drawing strength from God, make sure you are whole. It takes a woman that is whole or a man that is whole to raise a whole child. If you are having personal struggles, try as much as possible to see how you will heal and get back on track. Physician, heal thyself. If you need healing, if you need counseling, if you need therapy, our world is not funny and it takes a lot to raise children. So I would like to encourage you, sometimes just let down your hair. Life shouldn't be all hard all the way. Seek God for counsel in ways in which it would help you to develop your financial capacity, because yes, one of the most things parents worry about is finances. And I wouldn't take, and the economy is really smiling on us for those of us in Nigeria and in most part of the world. So please do take care of yourself so that you'll be able to foster this environment that is holistic and helpful for your children as well. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Benedicta.
It's my pleasure. And remember not to freak out because God got your back. I love you.
Yes, and Benedicta is always here to provide you with timely support and advice so that you don't freak out.